Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Today I'd like to announce a project that I will need all of your help with. This is a project that is so important that I'm doing my best to tie up all loose ends so that I have all of my spare time to spend on this project without trying to split it between 20 different things that I'm doing. And that is the creation of a consumer protection wiki that goes over every single one of the issues that I talk about on my channel. We are going to explain the issues. We're going to explain how they affect you. We are going to explain the companies that take part in these issues, and we are going to log every single instance of a company trying to take away your right to repair, take away your right to say you own what you own, changing the terms of the sale, EULA roofing you, what is a EULA roofie, and all of that. When a company like Pluralsight, as I said yesterday, has a lifetime license for something and then just emails you to say your lifetime license has been revoked, and we're allowed to do that because we have this bullshit on page 8098 of the terms and conditions, that goes into here. The reason that I think this is very important is because we have new consumer protection issues. Consumer protection means something new in 2025 compared to what it meant in 1978. In the 70s, consumer protection was this toy was listed for ages 2 through 6, but we found that people who were 3 years old sometimes will bite on the head of this action figure and then choke on it, so this really should be listed as ages 5 to 10. Consumer protection in the 70s was, these people are advertising a service as $199, but when you show up, it's $249. Consumer protection now is, I paid for something, I bought it, I was supposed to get a lifetime license, and the company can revoke it because in order to access it, I have to connect to their server because you don't own anything anymore. Consumer protection in 2025 is your vehicle spies on you, reports everything about your driving data to the manufacturer, who then sells it to LexisNexis, who then sells it to an insurance company who uses that as a justification to raise your insurance rates based on spying on every single one of your driving habits without your consent. Consumer protection in 2025 means that you have a television that you bought and fucking paid for with specific terms when you bought the television, and then you turn it on one day and it gives you some fucking error saying that you're not going to be able to use it. You can't even change the HDMI source until you would accept unforced arbitration, which takes away your ability to take them to court, your fundamental rights as an American, if they screw you. These are rights that are very important. As I talk about in this channel many times, Apple has come out with products over the course of the last decade and a half that have a lot of design flaws. And one of the only things that allows people to get justice for this, that allows them to get a warranty service so that they don't have to pay $600 for a replacement board when Apple should be replacing the board for free that has a defect on it, are class action lawsuits. You may think class actions are a way for lawyers to get rich. Yes. You may think that a lot of times they don't work. Yes. Simultaneously, class action lawsuits are the reason the 2011 MacBook Pro with a bad GPU gets replaced for free rather than $600. It's why your device, your Butterfly keyboard that they would want $300 to $600 to replace is free because there was a class action lawsuit. It is one of our few ways in the United States of America of holding companies accountable and responsible when they do something wrong because our government doesn't. Even with one of the most progressive FTC chiefs of our time. I've went over this on this channel. When a company like Weber Grills breaks the terms of the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, they get fined nothing. Nothing. Harley Davidson did the same thing. I have a video on that. You know how much they got fined? Nothing. You know how much Lena Khan and her FTC could have fined them? $40,000 per instance. You know how much they paid? Nothing. Less money than I paid to New York City over a fine for not having a license number on my receipt 14 years ago. Companies are not held accountable or responsible by our government because our government is a joke. It will become more of a joke as the new incoming FTC chair, Andrew Ferguson, is an individual that literally dissented on one-click cancel and did not even have the courtesy to say why he disagreed with the idea of one-click cancel. This is an area where there really is not a lot of work being done when it comes to new consumer protection. New consumer protection is when a company takes away your right to privacy and your right to say that you own what you bought and fucking paid for. Modern consumer protection is, I bought the security camera, it advertised itself as sending alerts to my phone, and then when the new security camera comes out a year later, sucks to suck, they deactivated my ability to get alerts on this one, and I can't connect it to my own server to use it that way because they don't let me. Somebody needs to go over this, and I don't see anybody going over the general enshittification of the rights of ownership at all. It just fundamentally doesn't exist. I would like to create a central repository for all this information, and we are going to be creating that with your help, I hope. I have created wiki.rossmanngroup.com. This is the Consumer Action Task Force. The reason I'm calling it the Consumer Action Task Force is because originally it was the Consumer Protection Wiki, and I can't name this thing the CP Wiki. A little bit of market research is incredibly important. I love the company I work for. God bless Fudo. God bless Aaron for what he's trying to do. 5 minutes of market research would have allowed him to see that he's essentially one vowel away from being completely and utterly, uncurably, irrecoverably destroyed. So this is the Consumer Action Task Force. The idea behind this is we want to log every single instance of a company taking part in one of these anti-ownership practices where they deceive you, where they take away your ability to have privacy, where they take away your ability to repair what you own, where they take away your ability to say that you own what you own. This is going to be a centralized repository for everything that I discuss. If I were doing this properly, what I would have done over the past 10 years, every time I discuss something on this channel, I would have created an article in this wiki. And going forward, every time I do a video on this channel, I will be making an article in this wiki. This wiki is editable and contributable to by anybody. You do not have to sign in. You can use this wiki without even having to create an account, and you can edit articles or create them without making an account. This was a decision made because I wanted to get as maximum engagement as humanly possible. I want you to have that little dopamine rush from seeing, oh wow, I corrected something that was wrong, or I added a source and it just shows up immediately. This requires a lot of moderation to make sure that this does not get filled with spam and scams. And we've got a great moderation team working around the clock to make sure that that happens. This wiki has no sponsors and it likely never will. This is not a way to make money. This is a way to hold companies accountable and responsible for when they do this type of anti-consumer bullshit. We already have some articles on HP. We have articles on Netflix that discuss some of the items that I've been talking about on this channel for a while when it comes to you pay for 4K and they kind of obfuscate the fact that you have to jump through a bunch of hoops for it. And what we want to do is we really want to cite this rather than it just being a rant from somebody that sounds like they are an autist on cocaine with borderline personality disorder, which has been this channel for the past 15 years. When you go over here, we are not just going to say this, that, and the other. We are going to provide citations. We are going to show that this is on page 6 of the end of the terms of service. We're going to show you how difficult it is to find the terms of service with real pictures. We are going to have factual citations and links to all these different terms. We are going to have very specific details so that this is very easy to confirm that this company has taken part in this anti-consumer practice, and we're going to show you exactly how it happens. And by we, I mean you. This wiki is the natural evolution of what I've been doing on this channel for a long period of time. When I go to this channel again, I'm not going to lie and bullshit you and claim that that a lot of the right to repair stuff that I've done has been successful. In fact, a year and a half ago, I did a video titled Reflections on Losing 15 Years in Professional Repair. I've done a lot to advocate for right to repair, and I've done a lot to try and move my industry forward as well as other related industries forward, and as well as getting your own consumer rights move forward so that you have the ability to fix what you own. But in many ways, I have failed. When it comes to getting a wheelchair right to repair bill passed, we won. When it came to getting a tractor right to repair bill passed, we won. We got some consumer electronics ones, but they're mostly toothless. And let's be real, you can head over to Salem Techspert's channel. He discusses it better than I do. Over the past several years, it is more difficult to find parts now, more difficult to get schematics, more difficult to do everything. And the repair industry that I was hoping to improve, because I wanted to see people be able to follow in my footsteps and become more successful, is an industry where it is literally more difficult now than it was 5 years ago. I used to do board repair for $250, $250 plus tax. I used to be able to get my donor boards for $12. I used to be able to buy chips for $1 to $5. Now I literally have to pay $250 to $400 for a single fucking donor board. Apple has managed to come up with a way in their supply chain where they're literally grinding boards down to dust to make sure that donor boards don't make it to people like me if they don't pass their quality assurance, quality control process. Chips are not available, many parts are not available. At some point, many of these things that I do are going to be going away. But I don't think that simply because I failed in my particular industry, that means that this is going to be a fail as a whole. If you look at my channel over the past several years and how this channel has evolved, it really has become a consumer rights and consumer advocacy channel. And you could see how that started. Over in the early day videos, I was just talking about basic things in business, finding a career, restocking fees, Groupon, grade A minus A plus LCDs. As time went on, I showed you a couple of different MacBook repairs while talking about some of my general business philosophy. And as time went on, I started showing you why it was difficult to do a lot of the repairs on Apple products that I work on. I talked about right to repair, and I talked about the issues involved in right to repair. I started showing up at legislative hearings to talk about this on a regular basis. At some point, I took a little detour to talk about Manhattan real estate, but I came back to the topic of right to repair. And over the past several years, this channel has evolved into the welcome to today's episode of How You're Getting Fucked, I'm Louis Rossmann show. Many of you would submit issues that were somewhat tertially related to right to repair, sometimes not even related to right to repair, but related to consumer rights in general. And one of the things that all these issues that you guys talk about have in common, they all go under this umbrella of ownership. Right to repair, as Kyle Wiens at iFixit says, if you can't fix what you own, do you really own what you own? If you don't have, if your car is going to tell other people how you're driving and then report on you to the insurance company. Do you own your car, or does General Motors own your car? Or does your insurance company own your car? If you have a camera that you buy, but that camera that you buy does not send notifications to your phone anymore if the manufacturer turns a server off, and you can't tell that camera to connect to your own server. Do you own that camera? Does the manufacturer? If you can't use your fucking remote to change the HDMI port on your television to a different source because Roku decided they want to force arbitration on you, do you own that television or does Roku? Modern consumer protection is mostly a joke, and I'd like to try and utilize this to get people informed and excited to understand what is going on. Now, I know what many of the pessimists are going to say. You're going to say, well, nobody's going to care about this. Even if you inform people, nobody's going to care. And to some extent, you are right. If there's anything that I've learned over the past 15 years of working in this particular business, nobody cares until something personally affects them. When I talk about all these design flaws in this video, everybody thought this is a joke. He's just bullshitting. All the stuff is made up. And the same type of people that would think that I'm an asshole, I'm making all this up, I'm just a hater, are the same people that would start to really care about the issue when they had that issue, when they experienced that issue. They'd show up at my store and they would go, I never knew that this was a problem. I can't believe they did this to me. Once an issue personally affects somebody, that is the point at which they care, and that is the point at which they are engaged, excited, and involved. Every single time I told somebody, I'm able to do this fix for $75, but I'm this close to not even being able to do it if you wanted to pay me $2,000 because a schematic or a chip or something else is not available. But here, I was able to do it. I'm able to get your data back. Here's all your stuff. And it took me 20 minutes. I have now sold somebody on right to repair, not because of a bumper sticker, not because I shamed them, not because I told them to, not because I had a cat meow in their face over and over again that doesn't even fucking belong to me. You are not my cat. Get out of my house. You are not my cat. You are not my cat. My Clinton is here. My Berry is there. I don't know who the fuck you are, but it's time for you to go. In all seriousness, the way that I get people sold on an issue is once they've experienced that issue for themselves, they understand why it's a problem because they've experienced for themselves. And then at that point, that's when I show them all the information. That's when I show them what they can do. And that's when I get them invested. The same thing is going to happen here. Your neighbor doesn't care about any of this. Your neighbor thinks that you're just bitching when you have a television that doesn't allow you to change because you have to accept unforced arbitration. They go, why don't you just hit accept? What's wrong with you? Why are you such a conspiracy theorist? But that is the same individual that is at some point in time going to have a television that is not covered under warranty when it breaks 6 months later because of a manufacturer defect, where a class action lawsuit to try to get them held accountable and responsible and provide a free warranty repair service to their customers fails because everybody had signed a forced arbitration agreement. That's going to be somebody that at some point in time is not going to be able to afford a new television. People think that you're paranoid when you say that I don't want my device spying on me all the time. I don't care. Well, just hit accept in the car terms of service. They don't, what do you think? That they're going through all your stuff and seeing how you drive when their insurance rates double? Yes, they do. And that is when it personally affects them. When there is a data breach on a service that they are using and every single message they sent, every single thing that they said, private matters that they do not want public, are all made available, they'll care. When there is a data breach from all this information that's being collected, because let's be real, no server is unhackable. It's just a matter of time, just a matter of how many people are fucking with it. They'll care. When it comes to right to repair, I have 15 years of experience here. Nobody cares about this issue until it personally affects them. Nobody cares until I am not able to get access to this frame when Apple makes a device where literally all of the pressure from the hinge is placed on one teeny tiny hair thickness thread of aluminium if Dave Jones is watching. Always respected Dave Jones. Always respected Dave Jones. Over here, they're not going to care. Nobody cares about right to repair until they have a board failure and Apple takes a board that looks like this and in their warranty repair program replaces it with a board that looks like somebody left it on the barbecue for a little too long. Once people are activated, once they realize that there is an incentive structure for them to care about this, that's when you hit them with the Consumer Action Task Force WIKI. That's when you say, by the way, here's all the other ways you're being screwed. Here's what the EULA roofie is. Here's what the change in the terms of the sale is. Here's what forced arbitration is. Here's how all these privacy violations take place. Here's how your fucking washing machine made you sign an end user license agreement in terms of service that gave them access to all your personal data. Here's how Adobe decided that you were not going to be able to get access to anything in your Creative Cloud anymore unless you sign an agreement to have machine learning go through all your stuff, which, by the way, everybody said, why don't you just opt out of it? Because you had to hit accept in order to log in and opt out. And at you again. Machine learning, it's one of those kind of things like it's like pouring food coloring in a pond. Like, it's very easy to get the food coloring in to turn the pond red. It's really fucking hard to pull the coloring out after the fact. Lots of people are not going to care about any of this. And right now they don't. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to care tomorrow. And it doesn't mean that we are not going to do the organization work necessary so that once they do care, we got somebody who's set for life. We have somebody that is going to care about these issues, talk about these issues, tell their friends about these issues. When they work at a company that takes part in this shit, say, fuck you, I quit if you do this. When they become politicians, decide that they're going to push for real consumer protection legislation, that are going to call up the FTC and say, hey, I saw that you could find that company that fucked over my mother $40,000 an instance. Why'd you find them $0? It starts with organization, and it starts with taking all of these instances of companies doing this type of shit and putting it into one central repository that is easy to browse. So what is this Consumer Action Task Force Wiki for? This is for instances what we talk about on this channel where there is a systemic violation of your rights of ownership. This is not going to be Yelp. If Lewis gets fucked over by a plumber that didn't do the job right, that's for Yelp and a local consumer protection agency. That is not for this wiki. If you have sent your laptop into Razer and Razer says that your keyboard had a non-working Y key when they got it and you said the Y key worked when they got it, that is not for this wiki. That is not a systemic issue that takes away your rights of ownership. That is not a systemic scam. That is a he said, she said between you and a company. That's a Yelp review. If Razer is systematically removing the Y key from every single device that shows up at their repair shop, and there is internal documentation that an employee leaks that says they are purposely removing the Y key just to fuck with you, then that goes over here. If there is a systemic privacy violation, a systemic right to repair or ownership violation, that goes in here. I do not want this to become Yelp. This is not supposed to become Yelp 2.0, nor is this going to be a place where people are simply slandering businesses willy-nilly without citations, facts, and evidence. Above all, this is not my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is where I am bombastic, and as I said in the beginning of the video, kind of come off as an autist high on cocaine with borderline personality disorder. That is not what this is for. I am funny when yelling at the camera. You show up, everybody shows up to see angry man yells at camera. This is supposed to be something that is written in a neutral tone of voice so that I could show this thing to a senator and have them understand why these are issues and get people who are not here to enjoy the bombastic, crazy person yelling into a camera, because this is not an act. This is real. This is who I am. There's a laugh going on here for a reason. So will you help me out? The first thing that you could do to help out, because I wasn't doing this as I went along, I have about 3,000 videos that need to be entered into this wiki and turned into articles. Here's a bunch of them. So this is a list over here, and this list goes over all of the videos that I have. The first thing is that many of these videos are not going to be relevant. So if I have a video that's talking about Mr. Clinton, that is not a video that belongs here. If I talk about LA Fitness's cancellation process, that would belong here. If I am talking about a post that I read on Reddit in a random forum about dating, that does not belong here. A video going over how to fix an e-bike motor does not belong here. A video going over other issues does belong here. A kitty that is meowing as it comes up my stairs who does not belong to me does not belong in this wiki, and above all, does not belong in my house. Does not belong in my house. Here, I'll give you a greenie, okay? Here you go. Here you go, you freaking... Here. Have a greenie. Have a greenie. A video of me riding my bike does not belong in this wiki. A video of me going over a systemic privacy or ownership violation does belong in this wiki. What I need you guys to do to help me out is to go through this entire list and try and help turn this thing into articles that fit according to the moderator guidelines that you could find on the homepage within the, it's going to be linked to in the mission statement. I have a Discord that you can go to. That's wiki.rossmanngroup.com/chat. I know Discord sucks. I get it. But if I'm going to actually get people to show up and actually take part in this, I got to use the platform that everybody's using. I've learned from trying to switch to Matrix that that's kind of a clusterfuck. Are you open to helping out? I don't only want the things I've discussed in my videos to show up here. I want everything going forward to show up here. The things that I've missed to show up here. If we want change, it has to start with us, because it sure as fuck is not going to start with any consumer protection agency in the United States of America. What we need to do here is come up with something that is so wide, so good and used in such a widespread manner that a company may think to themselves 5 years from now, I was going to do this thing, but if we make that decision, we're going to end up in this thing, which is kind of like the Consumer Reports of the J.D. Power of the 21st century that everybody reads. So we probably shouldn't do that. That's what we're going for here. Something that actually makes it easier for a legislator that wants to write a bill going over this stuff to write something that is useful It's a start. Help me out. I'm not asking for your money. I'm not asking you to click on some sponsored bullshit. I'm not asking you to sign up for Pluralsight or buy Raycons. I'm not asking you to buy my book or buy my course. Help me out. Help me create something that is bigger than what I've been trying to do with this channel and myself. What do you say? You want to be a part of the Consumer Action Task Force, the consumer protection of the 21st century? You want to be a part of cat? This cat, not you. Whoa. Here you go, Clint. You have a greenie. That's a good key. Oh my God, that was fast. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. Thank you very much for contributing. Even the smallest contributions. If you can't write an article, make an edit. If you can't make an edit, even pointing out in the Discord, here's where somebody spammed you or something. Any and all contributions are appreciated. Can't do it without you. Thank you. Mr. Clinton, we'll see you in the next one. You are not my cat.